Making friends in a new school can be hard for anybody, especially if you don't speak your classmates' language. In the summer between 8th grade and my freshman year of high school, I joined a small group of American exchange students in traveling to Changwon City, South Korea, to go to class with our Korean counterparts at their school. My experience as an exchange student in South Korea was a major milestone in my self-development and helped me understand and appreciate foreign cultures like never before. I'm going to run through three things that stuck out to me during my time in South Korea and what I learned from them. One was how to communicate without saying a single word. Two, how to find things in common with people from the other side of the planet. And three, how to keep in touch with people you may never see again. Communication was bound to be the hardest part of our experience. We on the American side tried to learn as much Korean as we could in the months before we traveled across the ocean, but our preparation could not compare to those of our Korean counterparts who had spent years in English classes. So their understanding of our language was much greater than our understanding of theirs, and they outpaced us in conversation to the point where there were often communication breakdowns. So to get past these breakdowns, we would use hand gestures and Google Translate. And believe it or not, with a combination of those two factors, we were able to get past communication breakdowns just fine. And while we didn't have a language in common, we shared far more culture than we expected. The American girls talked with the Korean girls about American and Korean pop stars, and the American boys talked with the Korean boys about the latest video games releasing. Um, all of us, however, shared a common interest in a Korean pop song that was very big at the time, Gangnam Style, if you remember that from back in 2013, 2014. Um, we knew when the exchange came to an end that it would be unlikely for us to ever see each other again. Um, the Koreans would go back to being on the other side of the planet from us in America, and us American kids would be splitting off into our separate high schools as we were at the end of middle school this time. So we knew we were going to be unlikely to ever see each other physically, but in the internet age, we always have a means of keeping in contact. So what we did was us Americans set up the South Koreans with Instagram accounts, and they were able to post pictures, and we were able to follow them and keep track of them and keep in touch with them over the past few years. And the Koreans set us up with Kakao Talk accounts, which is a Korean messaging service that's very popular over there, and that allowed us to keep sending messages to them even after we were long gone. So, luckily enough, we've been able to keep in contact, and my best friend from South Korea, Taewon Kim, I talk to him all the time. He is currently a student in London studying design, and it's been great to hear from him over the years as we've grown up together and apart on other sides of the world. Um, in the years since, I've reflected much on my time in Changwon City. The older I get, the more I appreciate my experience in South Korea and the lessons I was able to take from it. I was able to not only communicate with people who spoke an entirely different language than myself, but also bond with them over shared interests and experiences. And even now, nearly 7 years later, I have friends on the other side of the world that I owe to this experience. So I want to encourage anyone watching this, if you ever get the opportunity to go somewhere you've never been before, do something you've never done before, take it and make the most of that experience. Immerse yourself in the culture, make new friends, even if you don't think you have anything in common. You won't regret it, and you might end up with people that will be there for you, you can talk to for years to come in the future. Your best friends come from the most unexpected places.